Alright, once again, the Celtics had control of the game early, but I thought the Knicks were getting the looks they wanted in the first half, because all they did was exploit that drop against the Celtics bigs, so all of them kept eating that space to get to their spots, and making the right reads out of it. Brunson was usually spraying, Mikhail was usually making a midi, and their bigs were using their size more in the second, because Robinson was always on the O boards, and they were looking for Cat inside to exploit Tatum in the post. If anything, I still don't think they're going to that matchup enough, but it doesn't even matter that much because of the level of shot making as a team right now, and not one of them have any hesitation to pull quick. That's really been a key difference compared to the other end, because if it weren't for them going cold at the end of the second, and Tatum being on a ridiculous heater at the end of the first, the score probably would have been a lot closer. Even though White was hot off the rock swinging early, it was all about Tatum, because he single-handedly got the Celtics control, and he was just attacking Karl or Brunson every time he hunted those matchups. He was calling for a double screen to exploit Karl's levels, Jalen's hedges, or outright forcing the switch, or just getting them on a cross match, and once he got a couple middies to fall, he just extended his shooting further out to start pulling bombs from deep. But as seen throughout the series, I still think they're relying way too much on the 3-ball, because everything inside is tough for them, and a lot of that is from the Knicks' defensive pressure. They're just not letting the Celtics get anything easy in the mid-range or in the paint, so credit to them for forcing the Celtics to have to settle from deep, because it makes it damn near impossible to ever establish a rhythm, and the third was just another perfect example of that. Once the trays ran dry, they had to keep going to Tatum for a tough bailout, and for the third time this series, they could not close out the quarter, so that inevitably cost them again in the fourth. Tatum was at least able to keep him afloat for as long as he could throughout the second half, because it didn't matter if it was a mismatch or not, he was frying OG the same way he was frying Karl, but that eventually caught up to him, and it's just too difficult to sustain tough shot making for a full 48, especially when it's only coming from one player. That was a big contrast compared to the Knicks, because their shot quality was the complete opposite, and they were constantly touching paint easily with no resistance or help at the rim, so they got to unlock their entire offense. They kept finding Karl inside or kept beating the Celtics off the dribble for finishes, and if the Celtics did stop a drive, that just led to a spray, so the entire team got into a rhythm that even carried over into the fourth, because it was no different in that quarter. Out of all of them, the most obvious heater was Brunson's, and the only difference in the second half was him looking for his shot more, especially in the third, so whenever he got Horford on him, he was frying, but even when it was White, he was still frying. White easily had one of the worst times out of all the Celtics, because Mikhail and OG were doing him the same way, so whenever one of those three got him on runs, or was coming off a screen, he got scored on damn near every time. If it weren't for Tatum's injury, I'd say he definitively did, but a torn Achilles is as bad as it gets in hoops, and the loss of him is obviously way worse than the loss of the game, because that probably means he's out until at least the 26-27 season, so hopefully he can come back the same or even better. Just watch the tape.